Why is the NBA still pretending Jayson Tatum isn't one of the most dominant forces of this era? What more does he need to do? Walk on water in Game 1. As the Boston Celtics gear up to defend their title, there's an unsettling narrative echoing through sports media. Jayson Tatum continues to be overlooked, undervalued, and frankly, disrespected. We're talking about a 6-time All-Star, soon-to-be 5-time All-NBA selection, NBA champion, Conference Finals MVP, and a man who has never missed the playoffs in his career, all by the age of 27. Yet, somehow, when names like Jokic, Giannis, Luka, and Embiid are brought up, Tatum is constantly left out of the top-tier superstar conversations. Why? Stephen A. Smith recently went off on ESPN's First Take, and for once, his volume matched the truth. It's a lack of appreciation for what this guy brings to the table, Smith said. To average over 23 points for 6 straight years, a career 23.6 PPG scorer, shooting nearly 46% from the field and 37% from 3. What more do you want? And that's not even the full resume. Smith continued. 5 conference finals, 2 NBA finals, a ring, an ECF MVP, never. Misses the playoffs, never in trouble, no drama, nothing but consistency and excellence. So here's the million-dollar question. Why is Tatum still treated like he's chasing respect instead of commanding it? Let's go deeper, because this isn't just a media oversight. It's a symptom of something much more uncomfortable. Is it the quiet superstar syndrome? Tatum isn't a loudmouth. He doesn't create off-court drama. He doesn't throw teammates under the bus. He doesn't demand trades, start feuds, or post cryptic tweets. In today's NBA, maybe that calm, steady dominance just doesn't move the algorithm, but shouldn't it? Or maybe it's something darker. Would he be getting more love if he played in LA or New York? If he were more controversial? If he broke the rules instead of embodying professionalism? What's worse, the disrespect isn't subtle. Last postseason, he got torched for not winning Finals MVP. Never mind that he carried the team throughout the entire season. Never mind that he was double-teamed for 48 minutes per night, while Jaylen Brown reaped the open looks. Tatum still played elite defense, still made the right reads, still led. But because he didn't light up the scoreboard in every single game, cue the slander. Now, heading into the playoffs, he's being doubted again. Despite averaging 26.8 points, 8.7 rebounds, and 6 assists per game this season, all while leading Boston to a 61-win campaign. His name isn't at the top of MVP ballots. It's not at the top of GOAT debates. And it's certainly not where it should be when we talk about the most complete players in the league today. Let's be honest, Tatum is being punished for being consistent, for doing things the right way, for not playing into the chaos. And that brings us to a very thorny argument. What if the Celtics win another title, and people still don't give Tatum his due? What if he dominates every series, leads the team in scoring, rebounds, and assists, and still the Finals MVP talk drifts towards someone flashier, someone louder? Will that be the final straw? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. If Jayson Tatum played with a little less humility, maybe the world would already be calling him one of the all-time greats. But he doesn't, and maybe that's his flaw in today's NBA. He's not just a scorer, he's not just a defender, he's not just a leader. He's the prototype of what a superstar should be, and that terrifies people who profit from dysfunction. As Boston prepares to open their playoff run against the Orlando Magic, the focus should be on Tatum's shot at history, back-to-back championships, redemption arcs, all-time legacy building. But instead, the spotlight remains dim, as if the league doesn't want to admit what's already true. Jayson Tatum is one of the greatest players of this generation. What if the Celtics' path to another championship isn't paved with golden victories, but lined with landmines wearing Magic jerseys? Joe Mazzulla isn't just throwing out cliches.
Well, I don't think Boston has been disrespected. I think that Jayson Tatum, you could say disrespect. I would just point out, to me, it's a lack of appreciation. to be an all-NBA player the last 3, it will now be the last 4 years in a matter of days or so, okay? To average at least 23 points a game the last 6 seasons, to average at least 26 points the last 7 seasons, to be a career 23.6 point per game scorer shooting nearly 46% from the field and 37 from three-point range. All of those things are individual stats. Let me give you the cumulative stats from a team perspective, okay? He's a champion, okay? This is a guy and got drafted 3rd overall in 2017.
When the Boston Celtics head coach warns that this series against the Orlando Magic could be a war, it's not just coach speak, it's a red flag, a warning shot, and maybe a subtle admission that this matchup could be far more dangerous than the standings suggest. Boston wrapped up the regular season with a dominant 61-21 record, locking in the 2nd seed in the East. On paper, a first-round battle with the 500. Magic, a team that had to claw past Atlanta just to make it out of the play-in. Should be routine, but here's the catch. Orlando is not your typical 7th seed. They're younger, they're tougher, and most importantly, they've already beaten Boston this year, twice. Let that sink in. The Celtics may be defending champions, but the Magic have shown they're not afraid to punch up. In fact, they've thrived in that underdog role. The April 9th loss? Sure, Boston sat Tatum, Brown, Porzingis, Horford, and more. But even in a throwaway game, the optics were brutal. 96 points allowed and just 76 scored. That's not a typo. That's a red siren. Mazzulla himself acknowledged the threat. It's the playoffs. Everybody's going to play us tough. They're well coached. They've got talent. They've got versatility. Every game is going to be a fight. Read between the lines. He's not just hyping up the opponent. He's bracing for a dogfight. And here's where it gets really uncomfortable. While the national media dismisses the Magic as playoff fodder, let's look at the inconvenient truths. Orlando plays defense like it's a religion. They are long, athletic, and relentless. Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero, when healthy, are matchup nightmares. Both can shoot, drive, create, and defend. Boston's weakness? Youthful chaos. Fast teams that get under their skin, disrupt their rhythm, and don't respect the hierarchy. That's Orlando to a TO, and let's not forget, this is the same Celtics core that, for years, has been haunted by underperforming in the early rounds. Remember 2023 against the Hawks. Remember 2022 struggling with the Bucks and Heat, even without key opponents at full strength. And here's a spiky question that's sure to stir the pot. If Boston struggles in this series, will Joe Mazzulla's seat suddenly start to heat up? He's in his 3rd year, sure, but he's also never truly silenced the doubts about his in-game management and rotations. A long, grinding first-round series against a play-in team won't help his case, especially not after inheriting a title-winning roster. And what if Boston loses a game or two early? What if the Magic steal Game 1 and throw the Garden into panic mode? Does this team have the mental toughness to respond? Or are we looking at another season where talent alone isn't enough? Here's another dangerous thought. Has Boston's dominance made them complacent? They steamrolled the regular season, finished top of the league in most metrics, and watched their stars put up MVP-level numbers. But the playoffs don't reward stats. They reward grit, hunger, adaptability. Orlando's got nothing to lose and everything to prove. Boston, everything to lose, and critics waiting at every slip. Also, no Jalen Suggs? So what? That just means the Magic play with even more unpredictability. No clear point of attack, more ball movement, more size, more mismatches. Sometimes missing a key piece forces teams to play freer and scarier. In other words, this isn't a soft landing into the postseason. This is a trap door. One wrong step, and the mighty Celtics could find themselves in a 1-1 series, headed to Florida, with pressure mounting and the ghosts of playoffs past whispering in their ears. Are the Celtics better on paper? Absolutely. Are they safe? Not even close. And what if the story of the 2025 playoffs doesn't start with a dominant title defense, but with an unthinkable collapse, sparked by a team nobody saw coming? What if the biggest threat to the Celtics' back-to-back title hopes isn't on the opposing team, but hiding within their own roster as Boston gears up for another playoff run, preparing to face the up-and-coming Orlando Magic. A cloud of uncertainty hovers over the locker room, and it's shaped like Jaylen Brown's knee. The franchise says everything is fine. His teammates express confidence. But is this just another classic NBA smokescreen, where medical truths are softened for the sake of playoff dreams? Jaylen Brown, the quiet hero of the 2024 championship run, sat out the final games of the regular season. The reason? A minor issue with his knee, reportedly addressed with an undisclosed procedure. But how many times have we heard this exact story before? Minor injury, short recovery time, ready for the playoffs. Until the team starts to struggle and suddenly the truth spills out. Drew Holiday tried to brush it off, saying, "He looked good to me. JB doesn't show weakness. Everything for him is about being strong, mentally and physically." And that, right there, might be the most concerning part. Brown doesn't show weakness. Even when it's clearly there, he plays through pain, keeps quiet about discomfort, hides limitations. What's often praised as mental toughness could actually be the very thing that sinks the Celtics' playoff campaign. What if Brown is already playing hurt? What if the team's public confidence is nothing more than blind hope? Worse, what if the medical staff is repeating the age-old mistake of downplaying a chronic issue? Brown isn't just a dynamic scorer, he's Boston's most versatile wing, defender, the one who takes on the toughest assignments, cleans up others' mistakes, and shifts between guarding quick guards and powerful forwards. Take that away, or even reduce his mobility by 15%, and you could be looking at the difference between a first-round sweep and a shocking early exit. If he's even slightly limited, the Celtics might not make it past the second round. That may sound like an overreaction now, but it will echo loudly if Boston starts losing its edge on defense and tempo early in the playoffs. Here's another uncomfortable question. Is the team already laying the groundwork for a potential postseason collapse? The way Holiday spoke, emphasizing Brown's mental strength more than his physical readiness, raises suspicion. That whole "he'll be ready when the time comes" line feels more like hope than certainty. And what few are daring to discuss, if Brown isn't at full strength, how much pressure does that put on Jayson Tatum? Is he truly ready to carry this team again, like he tried in 2022 and fell short? One more painful angle. If Brown's knee issues persist, do the $304 million he's owed become a burden? That question will explode in the offseason, but the first whispers are already here. It's harsh, it's unpopular, but it's part of the NBA's ruthless reality. Are the Celtics still favorites? Yes. But no one wants to admit that this favoritism might be as fragile as the knee holding up their fiercest warrior. And the question no one dares to ask out loud is, what if Boston's biggest threat is wearing green and white, masked as confidence, and goes by the name Jaylen Brown? In the coming days, we'll find out whether this becomes a tale of grit and triumph, or the beginning of a slow-motion heartbreak.